Hello everybody. Here I want to talk about Teams, and in particular Teams Sprawl, which is a term we use when things go a bit, what should we say, Wild West in the Teams environment, where everybody seems to go and work out that they can create their own team, and they can put messages in there, they can put files in there, and if you've got a reasonable sized business, it becomes like loads and loads of teams, and it's virtually uncontrollable. So in this case here, you can see we've got Bob Jones. He's just a user in Teams, just a normal user on a standard tenant. And he can go and say, hey, I want to join or create a team, and click on Create Team. Now, quite easily, he can decide if he wants to go from a template or anything there. I'll just say for this example, we do it from scratch. And we're going to say anyone in the org can join. And we'll call it Test Team for Demo. And it really is as easy as that. He'll get asked a few more questions afterwards. But quite easily, he says, nice work. We'll just skip that. We don't add any people in here. But you can see he's got a team set up. And there you go. Then we can invite people in there, have meetings in there, and it's really good. Now, that is good functionality from the team side, but as an admin on Microsoft Teams, that's not really something we want to happen. We would much prefer them to log a request and say, we want to create a team for this reason. We're going to have these people in it, and put some naming standards around it. It does seem a little bit sort of overbearing, but I tell you what, it's worth doing from a Teams perspective. You won't end up with 1,000 teams that you can't rein in once they're all done. So let me show you how easy it is to turn off the ability to create teams. And guess what? It's not a setting in the admin center. You'd think it is. You'd think there'll be something in admin for Teams to say, turn it off. But go look there. It's not there. You need to do it with a PowerShell script. Now, before we jump into the PowerShell, you will need to go into your normal admin console on 365 and have a look at the active teams and groups there. And we need to create a security group, and I've called this one Teams Creators, as you can see, because obviously we need to allow some people the ability to make a team. So by making this security group, at the moment I've got nobody in there, but what we're doing in the back end of Teams is saying only people that are in this security group can create a team. So go ahead first and create that team, so that group in there. Just call it whatever you need to, and then we can apply that to the script. Now the script is on the website, thecloudgeezer.com, but on this article, so go looking for that. I'll put a link in the description as well, so you can see that too. But let's bring it up through PowerShell. We'll obviously start the PowerShell IC as an admin and paste the script in. That's funny. Paste the script in. The script in. There you go. I told you it was all real world. We don't stop for errors in this site. Okay, so here we go. Now, this one here, as you can see, I've given it the group name at the top and allow group creation false. Now, this doesn't relate to the group. This is saying, are we going to allow group creation on the tenant, true or false? So in this case, we're going to say false, but the group name we're going to allow access to do it is going to be Teams Creators. Now, you'll notice I've commented out the Connect Azure AD. You can put that in and do it automatically. I like to connect to Azure AD myself first and then run the script on top. But there is something you need to know about this particular Azure AD. If you do the normal install module -Azure AD, you will get the production version. That's great. But these commands don't work. These commands here, you will get an error saying command doesn't exist. But you'll go to type it down here, and it does exist. Very, very strange. But how to fix that is uninstall your Azure AD module and install module, and I'll type it in here. I won't run it, but I'll show you what you need to be typing in. And it's going to be Azure AD Preview, and that's the one you want to install. So uninstall the normal Azure AD, install the preview, and then this is all going to work very nicely. So quite simply, I will just get rid of that. And the script is ready to go, but I do need to connect to Azure AD, so I'm going to do that, like so. And tell it what account we're going to use for that, and sign in. Once we do that, it will sign into Azure AD, as you can see, and then we can run this script. And we just run it. It runs very quickly. There we go. And if I just bring up the results there, you can see the main, it basically gives you all the main settings on there. And the one here, which we're interested in, enable group creation false. Now these, surprisingly enough, take effect very, very quickly. So if I actually go back now, and let's just pop those down, and I'll pop that down, and I go back here for Bob, and I'd ask him to create a new, or try to create a new team, this is what will happen. So he'll go and say, yep, I'll create a new team and I'll do it from scratch like the last one, probably exactly the same as the last one. And we'll call it test team number 2 and hit create and watch what happens. There you go. You are not authorized. Not a particularly friendly message. You might get some calls about that. So you might want to let people know on an email out to everybody because, obviously everybody reads emails from IT. I mean, we know that, right? But you might want to send a note out to say, you can't create teams anymore. You got to log a request. Yeah, they're going to love you for it, but it's one of those important things you're going to do. So we hit close there and you can see I've now turned off the ability for Bob to create a team. Now let's suppose we have an admin. Let's say it is Bob, for want of a better thing here. So let's go and add Bob into that Teams Creator group and make sure that once we add him in, he then is able to create a team. So we find our Teams Creators group here, and we will go to Members and View Manage All Members, and let's put in Bob. There he is. Add. Nice and easy. And this also does take effect very, very quickly as well. So once we've done that, I will now drop down. And I'm going to give it a few minutes because obviously it is Azure and we do like to just just bake in a little bit. But so I'll come back in a second and we'll give it a go. We'll try and create a team now, and it should work. Okay, so we hit create team. Same thing as before. I'm going to call it test team number 3. Create. And there we go. Bob can now create teams again because obviously he's a member of that group. Now, the nice thing is if we do remove him from the Teams Creators group, that doesn't have an effect on any team that he's already created. It just means he can't create any more. So that's obviously important to realize. But yeah, that's about it, really. Yeah, we've now turned off the ability to create teams. We will no longer have a Wild West situation. We can add people into that group that are authorized to create teams. And yeah, you can thank me in 6 to 12 months that you don't have Teams Sprawl anymore. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. Very, very quick video today, but I just wanted to get that out there. Please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it when you do, as you know. And we'll, talk to you on the next one. Thanks, guys.